Hello everyone. So welcome to the channel once again, and this is part second of the topic force and friction of class 6th. Force and friction part second. So we are going to start the discussion today from the topic how to calculate force, how to measure force, right? If force is a quantity, then we can measure it. How we can measure it? So we can measure the force. The question of today is how to measure force, that whether is there any way through which we can calculate force. Yes, there is a way. There is a way to calculate force, and that is calculating the force in the form of weight. As we all know that weight is a kind of force. As we all know that, I have already discussed with you all that weight is a kind of force. How? If there is an object of mass m kg, then it is being pulled by the earth. It is being pulled by the mother earth due to the gravitational force, and that makes up the force called the weight of the block. The weight of the block, and that is calculated by mass multiplied by g, where g is acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity, which means that if block is allowed to fall down only due to gravity, then during that motion the acceleration produced in that block will be the acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration is change in velocity with respect to time. Change in velocity with respect to time. So velocity is what? It is just like speed. It is the vector form of speed. Now vector is what? Vector quantities are those quantities which are having values as well as direction is also important. So velocity is the vector form of speed, and if the velocity is changing, like velocity is 20 meter per second and then velocity changes to 40 meter per second in 5 seconds of time, then there was some acceleration during this period, during this motion. So that acceleration is change in the velocity, that is 40 minus 20 with respect to time, that is 5 seconds. So 20 upon 5, that is 4 meter per second square. So acceleration, we know that. So we will discuss about acceleration in the next class also. So just know that weight is what? Weight is calculated by m into g, where m is the mass and g is acceleration due to gravity. And the value of g for the earth is fixed. It is 9.8 meter per second square. 9.8 is the value, and meter per second square is the unit of acceleration. So when you will multiply mass with this value of g, it will automatically change into weight, and weight is what? Weight is a type of force. So you are going to get the force. So how to calculate this force? Now there are two types of spring balances which are used. Two types of spring balances are used to calculate the weight. The one is called compression spring balance. Compression spring balance. So in the compression spring balance, you must have seen at the shopkeeper's shop, at any general store, there is a weighing machine. So that weighing machine, when they put some articles into it, it tells the mass of the object, like 5 kg. So that is calculating how? The load which is kept on the pan, that load is attached to a spring inside, and that spring gets compressed. That spring gets compressed, and that compression of spring is calibrated, and displayed over a digital display, and it tells us that how much of the spring has compressed, and according to the compression how much is the weight of the object. So this is the way how a compression spring balance works, and it tells us the mass. Suppose mass is 5 kg. So 5 kg multiplied by 9.8, 8 5s are 40, 4 carry, 9 5s are 45 and 4 49. So the weight will be called as 49 Newton. The weight will be called as 49 Newton. 5 kg multiplied by 9.8 will give you 49 Newton. So you are able to know that what is the force applied on the calculated by the device, and the device is compression spring balance. Compression spring balance. Now there is another type of spring balance also, which is called as extension spring balance. Extension spring balance. In this spring balance, there is a graduated scale. Along with that scale, there is a spring inside it, and there is a hook. Now suppose if you apply a mass, you hang a mass of which you want to know the weight, and if you are calculating the weight, then it means that you are calculating the force. So you apply a weight, you applied a weight on this hook, so the spring will be stretched. The stretching of the spring will give us a value on this scale, and the value of this scale will be in GF, which I have already discussed. The scale is calibrated into GF or KGF, which we have already discussed in the units of force. So if you know the value of KGF, you can convert it into Newton, and you will be able to know the amount of force being applied over here. So these are the two ways by which you can calculate the force. So we can calculate the force by these two machines, simple machines. So the next topic which we are going to talk about is action reaction force. What is action reaction force? See, when I am applying a force on this blackboard, I am getting a feeling that this blackboard is also trying to push me. It is not getting suppressed. It is trying to push me in the opposite direction. So I am applying the action force, and it is applying the reaction force. Right? In the same way, in a game of tug of war, there is a rope. On one side there is team A, on one side there is team A, and on one side there is team B, for example, and there is a marker. So when they apply a force on this rope, the rope gets try to move in that direction, and when the team B applies a force on it, the rope tries to move in the direction of B. So there is a fight between the two teams, that who is able to pull the marker toward themselves. So they are applying a force, and there is a reaction force developing by their action force. So force always exists in pairs. Whenever there will be a force applied, there will be some other force also acting in the opposite direction of that force, trying to stop that force. So force occurs in pairs. They act simultaneously. Like for example, you throw a ball on the wall. So when you throw a ball on the wall, the ball goes and hits the wall, and after hitting the wall, it comes back again. It comes back. So when the ball is being thrown towards the wall, it goes with a force and applies the force on the wall, and the wall in return applies a reaction force on the ball, and the ball returns back with the reaction force. So there is again an action and reaction force. So on this factor only, there is a law made by Newton which is called Newton's third law of motion, which says that to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. To every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Right? Like if I am applying 50 Newton force towards the wall, then the wall is also applying 50 Newton of force against my direction. So the action reaction force is working. Right? Characteristics is that they occur simultaneously. They occur simultaneously with each other at the same time on both the objects. Suppose I was applying 50 Newton of force on the wall, at the same time the wall is applying 50 Newton of force on me. And second important characteristic is that they both occur on different objects. Like I am applying the force on the wall is applying force on me. So acting on two different objects. Acting on two different objects. Then they are of same magnitude but in opposite direction. I was applying the same 50 Newton, the wall is also applying the same 50 Newton, and they are in opposite direction, because neither I am moving backward, neither the wall is moving backward, which means that none of the force is greater and they both are equal to each other but cancelling out each other because they are opposite in direction. Then if we are talking about action reaction force, then action force is acting on the object wall and reaction force is acting on me. So they are in opposite direction but they are on two different objects. So they are not getting cancelled with each other because they are not acting on the single object. When the forces are acting on the single object and two different directions equal in magnitude, then they cancel out because they are acting on the same object. But here it is acting on two different objects. So they are not cancelling out each other. Although we are not going to see the result of them. Right? The next topic is net effect of force. Net effect of force. Net results are calculated when more than one quantities are involved. So when more than one force is involved at a place, we calculate the net force on that object. Right? For example, there is a block and a person comes and applies 50 Newton of force in this direction. So this block will start moving in the direction of force because only single force is being applied. So the net force on the block will be, let's name this block as A. On A will be 50 Newton, only 50 Newton is being applied, so net force will be 50 Newton. So this 50 Newton of force will make the block to move. Now if for example, suppose your friend comes and he started applying a force of 25 Newton from the opposite direction. So let's name this force as F1 and this one as F2. So now in the second case, the net force on the block A will be, now see, the force is a vector quantity. I have already explained that vector quantity is that quantity which is having magnitude as well as direction. So force here, direction also plays an important role. So if we choose one of them, suppose we choose the 50 Newton. So 50 Newton will be taken positive because their direction, its direction is right side, and whatever force will be in the opposite direction, that will be placed with a negative sign. That will be placed with a negative sign. So 50 Newton plus minus of 25 Newton, because 25 Newton is acting in the left side. So direction is opposite. So negative sign. So 50 Newton plus minus will result into minus 50 minus 25, 25 Newton. 25 Newton. So the block will still move in the right direction. In the right direction, because the force greater is the F1. So the block will move along the direction of the force F1, but with a lesser speed, because the net force has reduced. Earlier it was 50 Newton, now it is 25 Newton. Now it is 25 Newton. Now let us take the third case. In the third case, suppose your friend also started applying 50 Newton of force. 50 Newton of force. So in the third case, when you will find the net force on the block A, it will be 50 Newton, whether you choose this one or this one, plus minus 50 Newton, because it is in opposite direction. So 50 minus 50, that will be 0 Newton. So in this case, the block will not move in any of the directions, because the net force on the block is how much? 0 Newton. No force, net results, although the force is being applied, 50 Newton from right, 50 Newton from left, but the net result of the force is 0, because both the forces are cancelling out each other. Here they are cancelling out because the body is same, right? So when there is no force acting on the body will remain stationary. It will not move. It will not move. So this is the case. Now in this case, when the body is stationary, a word comes which is used for such situation, which is called equilibrium. So in such situation where the bodies are under force but they are stationary, there is no net change in the body, then the body is said to be in equilibrium. Then the body is said to be in equilibrium. When no net force is acting on the body is said to be in equilibrium. Now here a fourth case may also arise. For example, your friend started applying 100 Newton of force. 100 Newton of force. So if you had chosen this direction, the net force will be calculated as 50 Newton plus minus of 100 Newton. So 50 minus 100, that is minus of 50 Newton. That is minus of 50 Newton. Now here minus of 50 Newton means what? Minus of 50 Newton means what? That the force, net force on the block is 50 Newton, but minus sign means that now the direction is opposite, which means that the block will not move in this direction, it will move in this direction, because the 100 Newton, the greater force is 100 Newton, so the block will start moving in the direction of the greater force, that is 100 Newton. I hope you all are getting my point. Now in the same case, if it happens like this, that you were applying 50 Newton and your friend applied 25 Newton in the same direction in which you were applying. So in that case, the net force will be 50 Newton and 25 Newton is in the same direction. So now it will be in plus sign, no minus sign, because the direction is same. We use the minus sign when the direction is different. So 50 plus 25, the net force on the block will be said to be acting 75 Newton. 75 Newton, and the block will move in this direction. The block will move in this direction. So this is how, when different forces are applied on an object, the net effect of force cause different results on the object. Next topic is friction. Now let's understand what is friction. See, whenever two surfaces come into close contact of each other, a force starts applying between the two surfaces, and that force is called as friction force. This we have discussed in frictional force. So when a surface is coming in contact with another surface, there is a force acting between the two. If we are trying to slide one over the other, there is a difficulty in sliding of the one surface over the other, and this is due to the friction between the two surfaces. Right, like I am able to write with this chalk on the board because there is friction between the chalk and the board, and that friction is making the chalk to reduce in size. Its size is getting decreased. So this is friction force. You are walking, you are able to walk due to friction force. Your sole of shoes or your slippers is on the surface of earth, and you are trying to push the earth. In return, the earth is pushing you, so you start moving ahead. So there is a friction force between the two. But their question comes that why is friction? So first of all, let us discuss, or you may write down in your notes, that what is friction. So you may write down that friction is defined as the force. Friction is defined as the force that opposes the motion. Friction is defined as the force that opposes the motion, or the tendency of motion, between two surfaces in contact. This is the definition of force. So friction is trying to do what? When you are trying to move a surface over the another, it is trying to stop that motion. So from here we can also conclude that when a force will be applied on an object, it will try to move the object, but the friction force will try to stop the object. Suppose you roll a ball on the ground. Now the ball is rolling, and then after some time it stops. The ball rolls, and after some certain time it stops. So how is it stopping? Because there is a friction force acting between the surface of the ball and the earth, which is making the ball to stop gradually, because it is trying to stop the motion of the ball. So this is friction force. But have you ever wondered that why does this friction force occurs in the nature? Why we get to see the friction force? So let's see. If there is a surface, any surface, when it is observed with a microscopic view, with a microscope, every surface is a rough surface. Every surface is a rough surface. Although it may be appearing smooth to you, but when you will see it with a microscope, it will act as a rough surface. And when you keep another object in contact with this, now what happens? The point where the roughness is, they come or lie one over the other, and due to this, the weight of this block, this object, creates pressure on this zone, and due to this pressure they get joined for a short period of time. there is a force of attraction at this point, and therefore they get attached to each other. This is called cold weld situation. Cold weld situation. You know, welding, people do welding shops are there. So that is by using their welding rods and electricity, by heat energy they are welding. Here automatically a cold weld situation, due to the pressure, the welding like situation has arisen between the two. And then when you apply a force on this object, it is unable to shift this object on this another object, another surface 1 is unable to slide on the surface 2 because of these cold weld positions. Now if you are applying enough force and you are breaking this bond, the force of attraction, then the surface will slide over the other surface. So this is the reason of friction. This is the reason of friction. Later on you will understand that why static friction is greater than kinetic friction, through this only. So this is the reason of friction. Next is, what are the characteristics of frictions? What are the characteristics, the features of friction force? So first characteristic will be that it opposes the motion and slows down the moving object. Friction force opposes the motion and slows down the moving object. This will be the first characteristic. For writing down, you can pause the video and then you can write down, or you can play the video in slower speed. There is option in YouTube, you can play it in the slower speed and then you can write down. The second characteristic is that the friction force is self-adjusting force. The friction force is a self-adjusting force. Let us see how. There is a block lying on the surface of a table, and we ask an ant to apply a force and move this block. Suppose this block is of, so whatever the mass is, m. So we ask this ant to apply a force and move this block. We all are ant-man now. We are commanding ant. It's great. So we are asking the ant to move the block, but the ant is unable. An ant applied 1 Newton of force and the block didn't move. The block didn't move. The block is still in its position. Now we are asking a rat. To apply force and move this block. The rat applied a force of 5 Newton. The block still didn't move. The block still didn't move. Change its position. Now we ask a cat to move this block, and the cat applied 10 Newton of force and the block started moving. The block shifted from this position, it came to this position. So what happened in these 3 cases? Observe carefully. When 1 Newton of force was being applied, the friction force acting is in the opposite direction. So the friction force was also of magnitude 1 Newton. That is why both the forces were cancelling out each other, and the net force on the block was what? Coming out to be 0. That's why the block was in a stationary position, or you can say equilibrium. Then when you ask the rat to apply the force, it applied 5 Newton of force, and at that time the block also didn't move. So the friction force must be how much? 5 Newton, which means that friction force has changed its value. The friction force has changed its value. From 1 Newton it has increased to 5 Newton. From 1 Newton it has increased to 5 Newton. So this shows that friction can change its value, means that it is self-adjusting. That's why it is called that friction force is self-adjusting. It can change its value according to the force being applied, and it has a limit. It has a limit, maximum limit up to which it can apply, the friction force can be applied. After that limit, if you go apply a force beyond that limit, the object will start moving, because at that time the friction force will lag behind. Your applied force will be greater than the friction force. So the block will start moving, like in the case of cat. So this is how the second characteristic can be defined. Then the third characteristic, very easy to understand. Friction produces heat energy. Wherever there is friction, heat energy is produced. Like you have seen in winter season, people start rubbing their hands when they feel cold. So when you rub your hands like this, you feel the heat energy being developed by your palm. So friction force develops heat energy. In the same way, when you are walking, you have walked for a long time, your sole of shoes get heated up. When you are erasing with your eraser, if you touch the eraser, it gets heated up. So heat energy is being produced, the third point. And the fourth point, friction causes wear and tear. Friction causes wear and tear of the object. Like I am writing with this chalk. Because of friction, the wear and tear, the chalk size is getting reduced. You are rubbing with your eraser, the size of eraser is getting reduced. Two machine parts are working one over the another for a longer period of time. The parts get damaged after some time. Your sole of slippers, they get thinner after few years of use. The tires of the vehicles, they get worn out because of friction. So wear and tear happens due to friction. The next topic is normal reaction force. Normal reaction force. What is this normal reaction force? See, if there is a table and you are placing a block on it, you are placing a book, for example, you are placing your book on the table. So is there any force being applied over here? Is there any force being applied over here? Yes, there is a force being applied over here. Can you guys guess what that force is? Can you guys guess? Yes, that force is the weight of the book. That force is the weight of the book. The book is being pulled by the earth downwards. That is the weight of the book acting downward, and weight is a kind of force. So force is being applied on what? On the table. On the table. And is the book breaking down the table and goes towards the floor? The table breaks down? No. The table do not breaks. So what is happening? There must be some force which is balancing this weight. So that force is the force being applied by this surface of the table on the book, and that is called the normal reaction force, which is just equal to the weight of the book in this case. Which is just equal to the weight of the book in this case. Because weight is acting downward and the reaction force by the table is applied on the book upward, both are managing each other because they are opposite in direction. And neither the book is falling down nor the book is moving upwards. Right? The book, if the reaction force would have been greater, the book would have started moving upwards. But this does not happen. And if the weight is greater, the book should have moved downward, but this also does not happen, which means that the weight, the normal reaction is just equal to weight in this case. So why is it called normal reaction? Because this reaction force is acting at an angle of 90 degree with the surface. And such lines which are acting at 90 degree, having an angle of 90 degree perpendicular, these are called as normal. So here the reaction force has been called the normal reaction force. and your book is in what? Equilibrium, because neither the book is falling down nor it is moving upward. It is in that particular position. So net force is 0. It is in equilibrium. If the surface would have been inclined surface like this, and there is a block on the surface, then this direction of normal reaction, the weight would be downwards, but the normal reaction will be shown in this direction, which means that this surface is applying the reaction force on the block perpendicularly, always perpendicular. That is why it has been named normal reaction. Next is factors on which friction depends. Friction depends on what factors? So the first one is the friction depends on the nature of surface in contact. Friction depends on the nature of surface in contact. If the surface will be rough, the friction force will be greater. If the surface will be smooth, the friction force will be lesser. Like for example, when you are walking normally on the earth's surface, there is friction and the friction is greater enough to make you move ahead. But if there is a layer of oil on the ground and you are trying to walk in that oily surface, your foot will slip on that surface and you will not move ahead. You will just keep slipping and you will not move ahead. So the friction is reduced by the addition of that oil on that surface, because it has made the surface smooth, the irregularities have been covered up. So the rougher the surface is, the more the friction will be. First factor. Second factor, friction depends on normal reaction. Friction depends on normal reaction. More the normal reaction, greater will be the friction force. More the normal reaction, greater will be the friction force. If there is an object like this kept on this surface, the normal reaction will be equal to the weight. So in this case, the friction force will be greater. But if the surface is like this, the normal reaction is like this and the weight is like this. Now total weight will not be balanced by the normal reaction. So in this case, friction force will be less. Friction force will be less and the block will start sliding down. So the more the normal reaction, the more is the friction. Or you can say, if there is a heavy almirah, you are unable to push that almirah because the friction force between the almirah and the earth is greater. And if there is a empty almirah which is lighter in weight, at that time you are able to push the almirah because the normal reaction will be lesser, because the weight of the almirah will be lesser. So you can say that friction force is dependent on mass. If we increase the mass, the weight gets increased. The weight gets increased, the friction force gets increased. Third is the state, solid, liquid and gas. The friction is greater between solid and solid. Between solid, the friction force is greater. But the friction force gets reduced between solid, liquid. If there is a solid over the liquid, the friction force gets reduced. Like when you are walking, then your shoes and the surface of earth both are solid, so friction is greater. But when you are walking on an oily surface, there is oil between the two surfaces, so your shoes is in contact with the oil, so the friction gets reduced there and you are not able to walk properly because of less friction. So friction is necessary at some places. Fourth point is that frictional force is independent of the area of contact. Whether the area of contact is lesser or the area of contact is greater, friction force do not depend on that. It is independent of it. For example, let us see, there is a block like this. It's a cuboid. It's a cuboid. So it is placed like this on the surface. So larger area is in contact with the surface. Larger area is in contact with. The same amount of force will be required in both the cases, although the area in contact here is less. but the same amount of force will be required, because the friction force is independent of area of contact. The next topic is types of friction. So there are three types of friction. One is called static friction. So the friction which is applied when the object is in rest, that friction is called static friction. Like if there is a block here and you applied 1 Newton, so the 1 Newton of friction force was generated. You applied 5 Newton, so 5 Newton of friction force was generated. So this friction force is the static friction, and its value changes. It is self-adjusting, and it has a limit up to which it can go. So there is a maximum value of static friction. Now if you apply a force greater than 5 Newton, for example you applied 6 Newton, now this block started moving. So when the block started sliding on this surface, the type of friction gets changed. Now this friction, the friction being applied over here, will be called as sliding friction. And sliding friction is lesser than the static friction. So suppose the maximum value of static friction was 5 Newton, but now the friction value will get decreased. From 5 Newton it will decrease to 4 Newton. Because I told you that friction is due to what? Due to the cold weld situation between the two objects. So in the starting you need a greater force to slide one object over the another. Once the bond breaks between the two surfaces, the lesser force will also be able to slide the surface. So the friction force value, which means that here that friction force value is getting reduced. So that is why the sliding friction is called lesser than the static friction. So sliding friction is the friction which is being applied between the surfaces when one object is sliding over the another, moving over the other. And sliding friction is also known by the name of kinetic friction. The sliding friction is also known by the name of kinetic friction. Then the third type of friction is rolling friction. The third type of friction is rolling friction. Rolling friction is applied when we see that the surfaces are in contact with the help of wheels, or a roll surface, cylindrical surface, or wheel surface, curved surface. So at that point the friction value decreases. Earlier if you were applying on the box force of 10 Newton to move the box, when wheels will be applied you will require lesser force. It will be easy to move the block. That is why the wheels are used generally at heavy loads to move the block. So maybe you may apply 6 Newton of force and the block will start moving. So rolling friction, the friction between the wheels and the surface, is the minimum friction, is the least friction. It holds the least value, smallest value, rolling friction. So when object rolls on the ground like a car or wheel, the force which opposes the motion is called rolling friction. And by this it becomes easier when we apply wheels or rolling surface, ball bearings to any places. It becomes easier to move the surface one over the another. That is why wheels and ball bearings, such kind of objects are used to reduce the friction, and the friction becomes equal to rolling friction, and rolling friction value is the least friction. So among the three, the static friction is the greatest. Its value is greatest, then comes the sliding friction, and then comes the rolling friction. The greatest is the static friction, then lesser than that is sliding friction, and lesser than that is rolling friction. Then what are the advantages of friction? See, if friction force will not be there, we will not be able to walk on the floor. Vehicles will not be able to move on the road, right? Machines will not be able to work because their parts will not be able to work over the another. So friction is necessary. Car, buses, cycles are able to move on the road. We are able to walk on the road or on the ground. Friction between the wheels and brakes slows down the wheels. Brakes are working due to friction. Writing is possible. We are able to write due to friction. If there will be no friction, we will not be able to write. Therefore, it is difficult to write in space because the friction is not there. Friction, we do not get friction. Writing is possible. If the paper is very smooth, you are not able to write on that paper because friction is reduced. So writing is possible. Matchsticks, when we are burning the matchsticks, the friction causes the matchsticks to burn because heat energy is produced when you rub the matchstick, and that heat energy ignites the chemical in that matchstick. So these are the advantages. What are the disadvantages of friction? Friction produces heat. Wherever friction will be, there will be heat, and that heat may damage the parts. Friction may cause wear and tear of the objects. The sole of shoes get wear off. You need new shoes, new slippers. Your tires of vehicles get worn out. Your erasers get shortened. The chalk gets shortened. Your pencil gets shortened. So friction is making all the parts wear and tear. Then there is loss of energy due to heat. Some amount of energies get lost into form of heat energy. So the efficiency of machines is also reduced because heat energy when will be produced in machines, there will be one of the factors in order to make the machine cooler will be required. Because if the machine gets heated up, the parts may get damaged and the machine may fail to work. Then if the surfaces are very rough, friction force acting on the person walking at very high takes great effort on our path to walk. So if surface is very rough, that is become very difficult to walk. So these are the disadvantages of friction. Now how to increase friction? If you make the surface more rough, it will increase the friction. Like the tires, if they are smooth tires, they will slip over on the road. So there is grooves made on the tires. These grooves make the surface of the tire rough and increases the friction. Then soles of shoes. Soles are also not plain. They are having grooves, linings, making the surface rough, increasing the friction. Spreading sand on the surface. Sand will be spread, then it will make the surface rough. It will increase the friction. To get a better grip, wrestlers and gymnasts use powders, use sand, use soil in their hand for getting a better grip on the opponent. So friction, in order to increase the friction. And how to decrease the friction? Use lubricants. Lubricants are those substances which increase the smoothness of the surface. So you can use oil, you can use grease, you can use graphite. These are lubricants. When these are applied, the friction gets reduced. Pouring oil on the surface. Ball and roller bearings. We know that rolling friction is in the least amount. So we can apply balls, we can apply wheels, we can apply ball bearings. This will reduce the friction. This will reduce the friction because static friction will be replaced by rolling friction. Rolling friction is lesser, so it will be easier to move the object. By polishing the surface, making the surface smooth. The more smooth the surface is, the lesser will be the friction. Air resistance. Suppose a thing has to fly in air like aeroplanes. Their designing is done like that. So that air resistance is minimum on the aeroplane. And if the air resistance, the air which is coming from the forward hits the aeroplane, that also causes friction, resistance. So aeroplane is moving forward. If that is able to offer the least air resistance, it will be able to fly easily. otherwise engines will have to work more against the air. Then by using fine powder, like powder when you use carom board, playing carom board makes the surface smooth. So friction has its advantages, friction has its disadvantages. So friction all in all is said to be that it is a necessary evil. Although it is acting against it, but at some places it is must in order to make our work easy. So friction is a necessary evil. So that is all about friction. The chapter ends here and we will discuss the doubts later on.